we're almost finished setting everything up that we need for this blog. Like we have it all running and available through the website, but what if we want to add some more articles? Well, we know that's as simple as just adding some more files to our repository and pushing that, but then we're going to have to SSH into our DigitalOcean droplet and then just like run that deploy script. Or at the very least, we're going to have to, on our own here, come in and do a SSH-I, go into .ssh, .ssh, the ID, ED, the deployer tutorial, and then maybe like set it to our deployer at, what is it, test blog, .brookspatent.com. We do this, and then it deploys. But that's kind of a hassle. Like, don't we want something to just automatically do this for us? Well, it turns out there is. GitHub has a entire CI/CD system, which stands for continuous integration and continuous deployment for us automatically, called GitHub Actions. So we're going to set up some GitHub Actions for us. To do that, we're going to start by coming over to Actions, and we're going to just set up a workflow for ourselves. There are plenty of examples or just workflows that GitHub will just set you for anything you need. We don't really need anything special. We're just going to take this, and which we see here is workflows. They're going to call it main.yaml in a directory called .github, and then /workflows. This is fine. We're just going to create this commit in our primary branch and then go from there. So we're going to start this commit. I'm just going to commit that straight in. Now, right away, it's going to start trying to run this, but it's not really configured to do anything yet. So let's actually go ahead and pull this down, pull that change down that we have. Here's our create that YAML, and we can take a look at that. So GitHub workflows, main.yaml. Let's go ahead and start making some updates. So we're going to call this build and deploy, because that's exactly what it's going to do. When we push to the main branch, build and deploy it. Now, the reason we want to build it here, even though it's going to be built again on the server, is by building it, if that fails for some reason, do not deploy it. That's going to be our sort of like testing case. Now, I don't necessarily expect to use pull requests on this, but this first section here is basically, when is this workflow going to run? We can have as many workflows as we really want here. Sometimes you want one like, okay, if it's going to be pull request in, run like just a test for it and then make sure it's okay. If it's on the main branch, which this one is, go ahead and test and deploy it together. So I'm just going to remove this pull request one, and we're just say, okay, on the main branch, this command allows us to manually run this through the actions tab. So we're just going to leave that there. Okay. And then we have the jobs. Okay. So build, that's fine. And then runs on Ubuntu latest. So we actually have access to many different types of computers. You could run it on a Windows system, a Mac, or a Linux system, or even what kind of Linux system. In this case, Ubuntu latest is just fine for us. And then the steps. So right now, this is using a uses step, which is a completely different sort of action steps that's created by GitHub, which is going to check out our code for us. Perfect. That's kind of exactly what we want. And then this one is a named step. It basically is just going to run a script for us, which is also fine. However, we don't necessarily need it to run hello world here. And we don't need it to like do these echoes. It's not really helpful. However, this is what ran when we created that commit. So if we come back to GitHub Actions and we take a look at what happened here, we can see that run one-line script, here it's echoed. We can actually see that echo out. So sometimes it can be helpful for debugging these to do some echoes or cats or anything else, sort of like try to get a feeling for what really happened and why. However, note that this is all publicly accessible. So be very careful you don't like expose any keys or anything else that way, because these files can be seen and shouldn't be considered secure. All right, let's come back to this file and just sort of set ourselves up for what we need to do. So the first thing is let's figure out how we want to like actually build our book and do that. We want to use this GitHub Actions checkout. That's going to be fine. We don't need any of this stuff, but I'm going to use this name here. So we need to like build the book, right? So that's build the book. Well, if we remember correctly, that's going to be, we need to cd into the directory, which is going to be in this GitHub workspace. So we're going to cd into, that's not correct. I want to cd into you, and then I want to just run mdBook build. But there's a problem. We had to install mdBook. It's not going to be on here. So we actually need to run something else first in order to get that. So -name, and that's install mdBook. Now, what's really nice is Rust comes in GitHub Actions and is just available for us already. We don't have to install Rust. So we do have to just tell it to install mdBook. So we're going to do cargo install mdBook. Great, perfect. So we're going to install mdBook and then have it cd into this workspace and then build the book. Perfect. Now, once the book has been built for us, we know that we can deploy it. So we need some kind of like, okay, name, deploy the book. Well, what are we going to do here? Well, we know that we have that deploy SSH key. We can use that. So we'll probably be doing something like SSH-I. We have to have like the key here. So that's probably going to be something like go into your home directory .ssh, and then like maybe like the deploy key, let's call it, and then we need to go to deployer at Brooks, what is it, okay, that's fine, and that should work for us because this is a essentially just direct copy of what we did here. So it's SSH, we're using this -I to use this key, and then deployer at, oh, it's testblog at testblog dot. That's the only thing I missed, and then that should work just fine. But there's a problem. We don't have access to the private key here, so we kind of need this key to exist. Well, the other thing is that this directory doesn't exist either. So let's go ahead and get that all set up for us. So here, let's name create the .ssh directory. Now, all of these run commands here are just commands that you could put into the shell at any point in time. So it's kind of like just setting up a bunch of commands to run one after the other, top to bottom, on this Ubuntu system. So we're going to make dir, and then I just want to like ensure that it's going into the correct place. So the home directory .ssh. Okay, fine. We do need to make sure that this is the correct permissions for this. So let's go ahead and also set that up. So we're going to chmod 700. Now I'm using this and here. What this really means is if this command is successful, then go ahead and also run this command. However, if this command is not successful, we're done. Don't run anything else. Like, don't even bother trying this because obviously it didn't create it. Now, once we've created that, it's time for us to somehow get the key in there. So name install the key, the deploy key. Well, how are we going to do that? We somehow need to like take this key and like put it into a file. Well, normally, let's take a look at like if I had access to something. So let's say that I created an environment variable. So we just have like this test variable, and I set this equal to hello world. I can echo this, so I can do echo $test, and I can see this out here. But what if I wanted to like see that in a file, to put that into a file? Let's try that. So if I do echo $test, and I do this single sort of like greater than character, and that should put this into a file. Let's find out. I'll just do like a test.txt, just to, because I'm pretty sure I don't have that file. If I take a look here, oh, I've got a bunch of stuff in here. Let's do cat test.txt. Hey, look, there's that hello world. So this is exactly what we can do here, is we can echo an environment variable out and put it into this file, which is going to be this private key here. So, okay, so we're going to do an echo something and then out to .sh deploy. Okay, so we're getting closer, but we still need to figure this part out. So there is like, I don't actually want to just hard code the private key in here, even though the private key has been locked down so that nobody can actually use it for anything other than just deploying our stuff, because every time you use it, it's just going to run that command and not actually give you a terminal. That's fine, but there's a better way for us. We can actually use secrets. So let's actually come back to our browser. Let's go back into GitHub here. And if we go to settings for our repository, we're going to go over to secrets. And we have the choice of environment secrets, repository secrets, or entire organization secrets. In this case, I have a deploy key specifically for this app. So therefore, it's going to be a repository secret. Okay, so let's go a new repository secret. And then I can sort of add this in here. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to name it deploy key. Now, best practice is the name is all uppercase with underscores between them, that for, to mirror what like essentially good old shell environment variables are. And I'm going to put the value in here. So what I'm going to do is move this over into my other screen so you can't see what I'm doing. And I'm going to take this and move that over here too. I'm going to build a cat out that secret private key. So this is the one you should never allow anybody to see. So that's in .ssh, and we already verified exactly. Let me verify the name of it, because I don't want to give the wrong key. Copy that into you. Okay, so I have access to you. I'm going to go ahead and copy the entire thing and paste you in here. Actually, I copied not everything that I need to. Copy start, including that comment of like the beginning and end. Then add secret. Okay, so hide you. Now, we can see here is this deploy key. If I want to update this for some reason, I have to click the update. There, I can't actually see the secret anymore. It is now safe for me. But how do I get access to this inside of GitHub Actions? It's not going to be quite as simple as just $deploy key. There's going to be some special things, tokens, something to access it. Well, if we come here to this learn more, we can then see, okay, encrypted secrets. And if we scroll down enough, we can actually see, okay, using encrypted secrets in a workflow. If we come down to here, we'll see, well, this is exactly what it looks like. We're going to do $, and then basically handlebars. So 2 open curly braces, and then secrets dot, and then the name of our secret. Okay, that's pretty simple. So I'm actually just going to take this entire thing, and we're going to come back to here, and we want to just echo that into here. Now, echo like potentially could print something to the screen, although we did notice that when we redirected this, it doesn't go to standard output, so we should be fine. GitHub Actions does try to detect your secret, and if it gets printed out for some reason, it's going to hide it and make sure that it's like not visible for you to use. So that's actually really nice. So our super secret, let's go back and remind ourselves what we call this. It's our deploy key. Okay, so we're going to echo the contents of this deploy key and throw it into this here. Okay, perfect. So then we're going to install the book. We're going to build a book. Let me double check my notes really quickly. Is there anything else that we need to do? Create the private key. So there's something else that happens here. If I try to SSH in, and let me come back over here. If I try to use this key, it just works for us, and that's fine. But there's a problem. If I try to do it against maybe like, let's do the other block. It's gonna say, hey, the authenticity of the host can't be established. Like, this is the first time we're connecting to it. Even though it's the same IP address, it doesn't recognize what it's supposed to be. So that's kind of a problem for us. Now, this is because there's a file inside of .ssh. So let's do an ll of .ssh called known hosts. And if this file doesn't have the host that we're trying to connect to, then it's just basically going to refuse to automatically connect in, but require us to say yes to it. So we need to create this known host file with the correct keys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the file. So delete /ssh known hosts, and we're going to recreate it by essentially doing our ssh-i, and let's go back to our test blog. So this authenticity of the host is unknown. I'm going to say yes. It's going to permanently add this to the list of known hosts, and so now I can cat .ssh known hosts. And so here this is. So I'm going to create another secret with this. But this time I can sort of show you what this looks like. So we're going to do a new secret. We're going to call this the known hosts. Going to paste this value in and add the secret. And that's as simple as it is to create these secrets. So here it is, known hosts here. So let's go ahead and update that. We also need to create the known hosts here. So dash name. So create the known hosts. Run. Okay, so we're going to do the exact same thing. Secrets dot that and sh. Let's I like to use copy paste just to verify that it's exactly what I think it is. That's the name of the file that we're going to. Okay, so .ssh known hosts, we're going to put that in there. We should be fine then. Then we're going to install mdBook. We build the book, And finally, we can now deploy the book with ssh-i .sh deploy. Okay, so that's exactly where it is. And then deployer at testblog. And we should be fine. This should hopefully work on our first try. Now, I have noticed several times it can take a while to sort of like, okay, we're going to get an error and then it doesn't work. And then you have to try it again with like many different commits. That's perfectly fine. It can take a little bit of a a little while to like get the GitHub Actions CI/CD files set up and working. But once they are working, you're pretty much good to go. And it will just automatically run whatever you want. So let's go ahead and commit this. So this is created the GitHub Actions to deploy the book automatically. Before we push this, let's also create an update. Let's create a new page so we can actually see it happen. So that's going to be in here. Let's we're going to need to run our GitHub book here. So that's cd2. Where are we? Actually, I can just run you inside of here. Let's give me a new terminal. And give me a Ubuntu 1804. So now we'll have this markdown book blog, and I'll be able to run mdBook. I think it's serve. It's running locally, but it's listening for changes, which means now I can come into our source. I'm going to go into summary, and let's just add another page here. We'll just say, well, it's now September. So September. And we'll just say, I don't know, what is it, 9.5? So 9, let's go non-American style with dates. 0905 for when I'm recording this. Hit save. That's going to create this new file for me, and then I can say we set up GitHub Actions to auto deploy the blog. Okay, so save that. Now, obviously, if I come over here and I try to refresh, we don't actually see that yet. It's not here yet. Perfectly understandable. We're going to go ahead and deploy that. So added a new post. And we're going to push this on up. Okay, that's pushed. We can head over to GitHub Actions here. In Actions, we should now see this starting to run. Now, this is going to take a little bit of time. We can watch the first parts of it. Oh, we have an error. What happened? So in install the deploy key. So normally we can go in here and actually see. It's like, oh, 1 second, 0 seconds, 0 seconds. Did this just fail to run? Oh, here it is. Okay. So the command not found, so run echo. So it hears, echoes all this stuff. So it hid what we were trying to do into .sh deploy. Command, oh, look at that. So the command, it thought it was a command, that what I wanted to do, but that's not what I really want. I don't want it to be a command. So what we're going to do is come back into our main.yaml here, and we're going to wrap this with quotes. So it thinks that it's just, well, a string. So hit save, deploy this again. So putting quotes around the key and push you on up. And let's see if we have better luck this time. So back to Actions. Here we go again. Okay, it did a lot better. Now it's the same problem, create the known hosts, command not found for this, the known host that we're trying to set up. Well, let's do the exact same thing we did here, and we're gonna put quotes around this. So save, and add in u, so putting quotes around the known hosts and push that up. Okay, back here, and we'll see a third time's the charm. Okay, it got past. Okay, so it sets up the job, it checks out the code, we created the SSH directory, we installed the deploy key, we created the known host, and now it's starting to install the markdown book command. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and pause this video, because it unfortunately takes a very long time to download and install markdown book. And we don't want to just sort of sit here and just stare at it while it does that for the next 4 minutes or so. So I'll be back in just a few seconds. All right, we're almost done here. It looks like mdBook is compiling, which is the last little piece of mdBook to compile, and then it will build our code. So we can see all of these other packages were compiled and installed by mdBook to get to this point. So any second now, this is going to finish, and then we're going to go on to the build the book phase. We can see that this has taken 4 minutes and 55 seconds so far. Now these, one of the reasons these take so long is that these are not very powerful virtual machines that GitHub is giving us. Plus, we're using this for free, so it kind of does make sense that we're not getting like the fastest thing possible. Okay, we're done with that. It successfully built the book. So because of that, it moved on to the next thing, which is deploy this book. So what happened here? We did sudo terminal because permissions. Oh, look at this. So the permissions for the deploy file are too open, bad permissions, but everything else was fine. So why was that? Well, that's unfortunately, we remembered to change the permissions of the directory, but we forgot to change the permissions of the SSH file, itself. So we kind of need to do that too. So let's do that. So we're going to do a chmod 7. This doesn't need to be 700. It can be 600. If you remember, that's the read and write for root. So that's what? 4 and 2, so that's 600, 2.sh deploy. So unfortunately, now we have to rerun this entire thing. Now what I'm going to do to make this really fast for us is I'm just going to remove the install mdBook and build books commands for us. So I'm just going to go ahead and comment those out. So that way we don't have to worry about them. Now, in your normal one, you don't want to do this, but I just don't want this to take too long. So I saved that. We're going to come back into here and setting correct permissions on the deploy key. And we're going to push you up. Back to actions, and we should see this working. Now okay, deploy the book. We actually see it. It runs this SSH command. Okay, so a terminal will not be allocated for this. Now, what's interesting is that you can't even get a terminal if you want. It actually didn't even request one because this is inside of a non-interactive terminal already, essentially a headless shell. But okay, it did that. We got the feedback. It basically fast forwards, downloads all of the code. So it basically did a git pull, and it changed the files. And then Markdown Book built the new code. Okay, and then everything else ran for us. So if we come back here to our welcome, if I hit refresh, here is our new code. We got GitHub Actions to set up and auto deploy the code. So the very last thing for me to do, just to make sure I don't forget to do that, is I'm going to re-enable the installing of the mdBook and the running of that, just to make sure that it's all working correctly. But what we were able to do here was set up CI/CD actions so that now every time we write a new article and we push this up to GitHub where all the articles are sitting, it's going to go ahead and test them, make sure that the format is correct, make sure that Markdown Book can actually build it. And if it can, it's going to go ahead and send a command over to the server to download the new changes and build them. And then Nginx will just serve them up automatically. And we have a full system now. We have the ability to build and deploy everything. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.